Influences in Philippine art, culture, sculpture, architecture, music, and dance. Japan invaded the Philippines for approximately 36 months. This short span of time was not for Japanese to establish the foundation of their culture into our already shaped Filipino culture. In spite of this, the Filipinos were still able to learn few things from the Japanese. Influences in art. Origami, from ori meaning folding and kami meaning paper, is the art of paper folding, which is often associated with Japanese culture. In modern usage, the word origami is used as an inclusive term for all folding practices, regardless of their culture of origin. Modern origami practitioners generally discourage the use of cuts, glue, and markings on the paper. Origami folders often use the Japanese word kirigami to refer to design which use cuts, although cutting is more characteristic of Chinese paper crafts. Influences in culture. It has become a Filipino practice to remove a slipper from one's feet before entering the house. This is in fact an ancient custom that the Filipinos learned from the Japanese. They were the only Asian colonizer of the Philippines. Kite flying is now a popular activity in the Philippines. Kite flying is now considered part of a Filipino's childhood. It is believed that the practice of kite flying was learned from the Japanese. In fact, the Japanese even spend their whole New Year's Day while flying kites. Other culture we adopt are bonsai planting, fish breeding, and duck farming. More recently, Japan has influenced the Philippines by bringing similar cultural additions to our country, similar to its influence on the rest of the world. Karaoke is a pastime practiced in part of the Philippines. And many Filipino children watch anime, shows on televisions, and read manga just as they do elsewhere. Also, the Japanese influenced the government in the Philippines by enforcing a strict curfew, adding Japanese currency, instituting a military government, and reducing neighborhood government system by half. Influences in literature. During the Japanese occupation of the Philippines during World War II, which produced many long-lasting effects, both good and bad, on Filipino literature. Writing in Tagalog, the native Philippine language, was greatly encouraged, while writing in English was severely limited and often forbidden altogether. The Japanese form of poetry, haiku, was also explored by Filipino writers during the occupation. Additionally, short story came more into fashion. Influences in music and dance. The Japanese also brought radio calisthenics to the Philippines. Radio calisthenic refers to the broadcasting of exercise music through radio station early in the morning in order to encourage exercise. Today, radio calisthenics may still be seen in the form of aerobic performed in groups. Other influences of the Japanese in the Philippines. Back then, the Japanese introduced martial arts to the people of the Philippines. Famous examples of which includes Aikido, Judo, and Karate. Mongo con hielo, or red bean preserved on top of finely shaved ice, is said to be a Japanese influence. So is the practice of preserving two other beans in syrup called garbanzos and kidney beans. The halo-halo is therefore basically inspired by the Japanese shaved ice dessert called kakigori. Also, the use of miso in sinigang sa miso, undoubtedly Japanese. The use of vetsin, specifically the Ajinomoto brand, is clearly Japanese. And the use of udon or odong noodles in Baguio City, Davao, and other parts of Mindanao is another Japanese influence. All we know about the Japanese invasion is that it was the peak of violence in the Philippines. Back then, no one would think of the Japanese people as good people, due to their bringing up of violence and death upon their islands. These influences, however, do not make a great impact on our culture because our culture has already been shaped by the long history of our country, even before this era, and because the Japanese only had little to penetrate our country.